Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from MMA word and beyond.
You're supposed to laugh. You're supposed to go.
Well,
Yeah.
he's putting a lot of flair on it, man. It's like I'm waiting for him to pass out from the lack of
Flair,
oxygen.
look at you. You're in this monochromatic silk suit here.
Exactly.
Yesterday you look like people were calling you Uncle Remus. What the?
I started the
Oh,
Uncle
man.
Remus thing. I couldn't
know,
remember. I said, who was that guy in Song of the South? You know, Bill Robinson dancing with Shirley Temple. Was that Rastus or Uncle Remus? People were like, Uncle Ben. He's Uncle Remus. Yeah.
Right.
Because
The
Uncle
zippity
Remus on a
doo-dah.
smooth shape.
Zippity doo-dah. That's the guy. Yeah.
Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder.
Yeah. He's whistling while he worked. You
And
know.
today,
Exactly.
look at you, professional Stanford alum, mentioned in Rich
shaved,
People
man.
magazine,
My
or
kid-
whatever it
my-
was.
It was modern luxury.
Yes.
Line up for the
I love
guillotine, pigs, because you're getting your head chopped off.
Fucking A, man. I'm pointing out where they're hiding. You want the rich people? They're over there. Get them. You know.
You better take that suit off first.
Yeah, maybe.
All
right.
I'm Alexei Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything Everyone Know But Ass Kicking, but afraid you get your ass kicked for asking.
Nice. You know, people have been sending me pictures of them with the book. I like that. I give them free stuff.
Oh.
You know, free stuff is like good free advice. You know, don't get crazy.
Well,
Your
speaking
beard
about
shavings.
advice and value or lack thereof,
Mhm.
Eugene, you're Ronda Rousey's coach,
Fuck.
Edmund Taverdyan.
Man,
After your fighter,
you start out with the hard ones. Damn. Okay.
Oh, you can rehab this guy with just a couple of minutes of advice. No
Yeah.
problem.
After your fighter Ronda Rousey's 47-second destruction at the fists of UFC Bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes, and a veritable poop storm of mockery aimed at transcripts of your shouted advice from the corner, where do you go from here?
You know, the way you phrased it. You are Edward Taverdyan. If you were him, what do you do? Now, I'm going to give you advice based on if it was me, what do I do? If it was me, I pack my fucking bags, I sneak out the back door, and I find a private Idaho somewhere where I can count my non-taxable income. Or his untaxed or the zero-sum income. I mean, but that's not what you asked. You didn't ask what he's going to do. I mean, what can this guy fucking do? Did you see that thing that somebody put up where it listed the fighters that fight for him in their win-loss records and treated him like people treat head coaches? And look, this is his accumulated record. And it was like 4-18. It's like, this is not the guy that you want to put your midseason hopes on. This guy's not going to get you to the Final Four. This guy's not the conference. He's like a... okay, but that's not what you asked.
He's like a Democratic political consultant.
Well, all these guys. Look, a friend of mine was Undersecretary of Defense with Palestinian Affairs under the George W. Bush administration. You know how hard it was for him to get a job after Bush was out of office? What was he going to say? I was the Undersecretary of Defense in the Bush administration, and your qualifications are? I was Undersecretary of Defense, and your qualifications are? I mean, what is this guy, his qualifications, or what precisely? This guy ran that poor girl out there with fucking nary a hope in the world, with smoke and dreams, and has the fucking temerity to act shocked when after 48 seconds she gets beaten. Not only does this display a remarkable lack of fucking fight intelligence, but it shows me that this is not a guy who himself has ever been there. You know? I mean, I used to box at the boys club. I could tell you need more than 6 months to get the guy who almost knocked my eye out of my socket. It's going to take me more than 6 months to catch up to that guy. You know, he's doing it all the time. I'm lifting weights and maybe boxing, you know? So if I'm him, you know what you do? This the smartest move for him right now is to say, listen, you guys, mea culpa, you guys deserve better than me. Better to quit than to be fired. Say, look, you know, I'm gonna pull back. rethink my whole operation. You could feel free to train at this gym. It's your second home, but I suggest you find a coach that can maybe better help you fulfill your dreams. And I'm going to regroup. And when he regroups, what he does is he gets that B or C level fighter who could actually maybe use a little help or name association, and you rebuild your organization on the basis of those guys. Those guys who will read the same websites, and they'll read the record, and they'll check out the mockery, but they got no fucking choice. You know, it's you are crushing anonymity, and that's your only play at this point. I don't give a shit if Ronda sticks with you. That is your only real play. Her sticking with you now is a fucking liability because it means that she feels sorry for you. There's some kind of unholy connection or holdover, some Rasputin thing, or you're blackmail. I mean, it just raises all kind of.
And Butterfly with Pia Zadora comes to mind.
Right. It raises all. Okay, that's a reach, man. Both Pia Zadora and
yeah, you know,
Mike
that was
Hammer.
tasteless and offensive.
So you know, this is the kind of thing where, you know, it's counterintuitive, and I don't see him being smart enough to go, look, I got to get out while I'm getting this good. But that's precisely what he should do. He's got to go. And if he doesn't know he's got to go, he can do it great. Like Charlie Manson once said, there are two ways to get to the cross. You can go willingly, or you can be dragged kicking and screaming. Better to go willingly, you know.
Man, what do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think I hear it's beautiful in Armenia this time of year. And if I were him, I would be packing my bouillon into a carry-on bag, and I would be in Armenia by next Tuesday, quickly. But he's not.
I heard he's got sick family. I heard he's got sick family there. It's a good excuse.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's always people need you in Armenia, I'm sure. You know, there's a crying need for mediocre judo coaches in Armenia, I'm sure. I have no doubt. But yeah, now this dude, there's no rehabbing Edmund Taverdyan from a PR perspective. There's simply damage control and counsel to get the fuck out of this business, dude. Like, I mean, comparable. The only coach in MMA history I can think of that's comparable would be John Hackleman of the Pit, that was Chuck Liddell's coach for a long time. Except Hackleman's actually respected. I mean, he's not considered a great coach, but he's considered a good guy, which Taverdyan, I believe he's a convicted criminal. I could be wrong, but I know he's lied under oath and stated some ridiculous falsehoods on deposition. And the guy has zero credibility. Like Luke Thomas was doing his Monday morning analyst and breaking down some of Taverdyan's comments, and he was like, what the fuck to make of this? And option one was, dude is lying. Like he was talking about Taverdyan claiming that he had brought boxing experts in to train Rousey, and they'd all come away going, I don't even need to touch this diamond. It's flawless. You know, like, and Jesus Luke's number one answer was, well, the most likely thing is he's lying. So when you're at that point, like, dude, your rep is jacked. Like, I mean, Hackleman had Chuck Liddell and Grover Teixeira, but he did right by both of those guys. And nobody accused Hackleman of ripping him off or pulling off some financial scam in the gym. It's just that he wasn't Greg Jackson or one of these great coaches that became a mega coach. And maybe it was because he wasn't ambitious, but I can't think of anybody else like Taverdyan who has ridden a star through her entire peak and fall, drawn other people to him, and clearly did nothing. Like, remember when they had 4 horsemen that were with 4 horsewomen that were with Ronda, and they all just got their asses kicked straight out of the UFC? Like,
see, it's funny because when you brought that up, the only person I can think of was Lou Albano managing Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Now, see, but that was a real.
And Buddy Rogers had to convince Jimmy that he didn't need Captain Lou.
Yeah. And see, that was a different thing. I mean, Captain Lou was obviously a great manager. But, yeah, Taverdyan, man, when you're guilty, plead guilty, get out. Like, he just needs to say, I'm done, you know, and leave on his own, like Eugene said. That is his only honorable exit at this point. But the guy is such, allegedly, a shitbag that there's no chance of that. He's just going to continue to go on down the road, disgracing himself and anybody who's dumb enough to get involved with him. That's what he's going to do, and I don't think he can be helped.
But a friend of mine once, it's like the Yossarian thing from Catch 22. I mean, a friend of mine who I'm quite sure would say, as long as somebody's willing to give you a check for something,
Right.
you would be a fool to not take that check for that something. But at this point now, I would start withholding shit if I were her. I was like, you know what? Yeah, a friend of mine trained with Carl Gotch, right? And he went and gave a seminar where he was teaching Carl Gotch's stuff. And at the seminar, a guy from the Lion's Den, this is in the old Joe Hurley, I believe his name was, said, "Hey, I'd like to roll with you a bit. Do you mind terribly?" This is before people knew who Joe Hurley was. He was just a kid in, fatigues. And the guy giving the seminar said, "Sure." And they rolled for about half an hour. The guy leading the seminar, who taking a whole crap load of money being Carl Gotch's #1 student, barely escaped with his life and could not put this kid away. It was kind of a major black eye. He goes back to Florida. He marches into Gotch's house and goes, "You gotta help me. You gotta, you rolled me," essentially kind of held him responsible. "You rolled me out there. I've been doing calisthenics with you for 6 months. I need technique. You got to start teaching me something here. I'm not, I'm done with the sit-ups and the Indian squats and the kettlebells. Fuck that. I want to learn some real technique." And they eventually had a major falling out and went their separate ways. But at this point, Ronda needs to be a little bit of pushback. It's like, it wasn't even a game plan. It was a question of perception. Your perception was so aggressively wrong that there's a real crisis of confidence here, man. Why don't you do the right thing, kick back the money, and come up with a plan that maybe other people agree is a good plan, but until then, you and I can't work together. This is fucking ridiculous.
I guarantee you the money is gone, though. I
guarantee. Well, I'm good. Any of you guys I know who are like him, that wallet works one way, baby. Everything's going in. Nothing's coming out. So I don't think that's going to be a strategy that works. Or like a buddy of mine said when I was like, "Man, if they gave me the trophy with a shitty decision, I would demand that they give it to the other guy." He goes, "So you an idiot? You're going to question the judges? Question the judges. They made the decision. Take your win and be happy with it." He'll take his cash and he'll be happy with it. But that guy, he should do the right thing. And of course, he's a long record of seeming to not do the right thing. But I don't know how you could trust him again.
Well, speaking about doing the right thing, Nate, you're UFC Bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt.
Let me put on my neck tat real quick. Okay. Here it is. Just visualize neck tat.
You lost the pre-fight PR battle against Dominick Cruz, but dominated the Dominator with an entertaining in-ring antics not seen since Anderson Silva. You followed that up with a tear-jerking tribute to leukemia survivor Maddux Maple. And before the night was over, you won over more fans at the post-fight presser.
Is Eugene heckling the cancer survivor?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not my thing. I'm just listening. I'm looking at something else. That's what's happening.
Okay. Just don't mention Make-A-Wish Foundation around Eugene because he goes ballistic. Okay. Next.
What PR moves must you make to maintain your momentum as the star you finally convinced the world you are, Cody?
It's not hard. We've run through this formula many times, and Cody, I've got to say hats off to Cody Garbrandt because Eugene and I both were so awed by Dominick Cruz's shit talk. We thought he was inside the kid's head. He was not inside the kid's head. And Garbrandt just deep pantsed him. I mean, humiliated Cruz in the cage. An amazing performance, total championship performance. I mean, obviously Cruz had lost some steps, maybe 2, maybe 3 steps from the old Dominick Cruz. But still, beating him the way he beat him, an amazing performance. And then pulling the shit, like jumping down and doing the push-up, and then the bit with the kid. This was PR gold. Just keep doing what you're doing, Cody Garbrandt. I got nothing to tell you. Win in the cage and entertain outside the cage, and you totally did it. And, this whole bit where you're this inarticulate, tongue-tied, quick-tempered yokel, you can work with that because there's a lot of people who are tougher than the people they're dealing with and yet get verbally humiliated over and over again. And frequently they're smarter than the people that are verbally humiliating them. They just can't talk. They can't talk back and forth. They freeze. That's just not their thing. They're not good in arguments, and they get humiliated over and over again. A lot of people identify with you. This is gold. Just keep training. Stay away from John Jones. Don't get in. I mean, I don't think the temptations are going to be that huge for the bantamweight champ, but still, there will be some temptations now that you're UFC champ. Stay on the straight and narrow. Go home early. Get up early. Get to the gym. Uriah Faber is a great role model. Uriah Faber is a guy who navigated the fame and the money very, very well. Learn from Uriah Faber. Don't sign your money over to Uriah Faber, but learn from him. And just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, this was a beautiful performance by Cody Garbrandt. And hopefully some of the people who tuned in for Rousey will stick around with Cody Garbrandt, because it was if they're fight fans at all, if they're not just, bandwagon jumpers with Rousey, they will have been impressed with what they saw from Cody Garbrandt. Because even though it was a 5-round bantamweight fight, it was action-packed, tons of personality came across, and he might become the first All-American boy with neck tattoos. Like, he might totally rehab neck tattoos. Soon you won't be able to get a job without neck tattoos. I'm saying, kid, if you want to get in the right fraternity and go to the right college, get your neck tattoo early. That's what I'm telling my kid. All right, that's my advice.
Take Eugene. Like, you need to be drawn out of you.
Look, I don't mind gilding the lily a little bit, or waxing the bishop, or whatever the phrase is. But he didn't destroy him. He didn't dominate him. What the fuck? Huh?
Dominic, you saying Garbrandt did not dominate Cruz in the cage?
Oh, what? No, I don't think domination is what happens when you and I roll together. That's domination.
We've never rolled together. But I'm actually taking my first jiu-jitsu lesson next Monday, so let's talk in 2 weeks.
All right. So you're close. I mean,
world's oldest white belt.
I think it was super close. It was so close that I didn't feel bad of people like tweeting me. What do you say after this, Eugene? I need to hear something. It was close enough where I couldn't feel bad for the loser. I couldn't feel happy for the winner. I couldn't feel bad for the winner. I gotta call timeout.
This Eugene's clinical narcissism is overtaking him. He's not answering the question. He's defending a disastrously bad fight pick. We've been down this rabbit hole before, Eugene. There's more to the world than your thin-skinned. You're trumping, Eugene. You're trumping here because nobody cares about your fight pick. We know you can't pick fights. You're wrong. Let's move on. What's your advice for Garbrandt?
Strangely enough, I only got one wrong, and this was the one I got wrong.
Again,
you, however,
no one cares. La la la. No one cares.
Smirk cares.
So what should he do? What
advice
should Cody do?
Jane?
So advice for Garbrandt. I mean, he showed himself to be astute in a certain really specific way, and that's that this is mixed martial arts, right? So part of the game is where he lost completely and totally, like, head to head, and he said, look, I couldn't read till the 3rd grade. I barely got out of high school. Head to head, no match for the guy in a press conference. But that's only a fractional. That was only a fractional. The fucking kid despite the guy I was watching it with who said, who's that fruit? The kid was gold, The kid was gold. The backstory was gold. The alpha male team joy, that shit was gold. The magnanimity, that was gold.
The Fish's Call
the performance.
TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah, that was
a one-line trash talk, and that's all he had to do. That's what I like. Just a one line. Come at me, motherfucker. Yep. That's all you got to say.
That was absolute gold. He acquitted himself super well in 9/10 of that equation. The 10th that I'm taking issue with is I didn't think that was just give me a break. Give me a second here. I don't think that was a dominating fight. Now, people have pointed. Just give me a second. People
I'm giving you a second. Just like
people have pointed out Dominick Cruz's diminished demeanor at the press conference as being proof that he hasn't figured out how thinking forward to the future. He hasn't figured out how he deals with a fighter who hangs back, putting him in a position where to keep his volume high, he has to come forward and fundamentally get picked off. He hasn't figured. So when they said, what about a rematch? Somebody said, look, he was pretty passive in picking up the thread of whether there should be a rematch or not. So that's proof that he's I think that this is, I think one of the commenters put that, I think that this is within the acceptable range of something that he might be able to figure out. And the race for him is he's trying to find the point on the axis where he's learned enough after watching the film but it doesn't take him so long that he's dealing with the clock. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
talking gibberish. This is babble.
This happens when I speak to people who are fucking idiots. Yeah. I can't think of any
Eugene, I think you're acting like the question is, if you're Dominick Cruz.
Okay.
We're not asking you, but you gotta let me finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish. Let him finish.
I'm winding it up. So give me another 30 seconds here. So this is what Dominick Cruz is doing. If Garbrandt is smart, he keeps making these same out of the ring moves. He finishes off fucking Dillashaw, who I think is imminently finish offable. I wasn't impressed with his performance against Lineker. And then you immediately schedule that fucking rematch. Do not give Cruz more than fucking 6 months. I think that is a sweet spot. Or you could go the other way and make him wait 2 years, in which case he's old enough and slow enough where he's not going to pick up any ground. 6 months is a sweet spot, and that's where he should.
Let me throw something out at you that I almost changed the question because of what he did. All that goodwill, I'm telling you. So when he was fighting the fight, I was rooting for Cruz. I didn't really believe the whole Garbrandt. I didn't like, how he thought too highly of himself. Oh, I'm going to be this and that and so and so, right? I just want to see him in the ring, right? So, I'm just watching Cruz. I believe Cruz is just getting humiliated and embarrassed. Like, it was hard for me to watch. I'm not a huge. I haven't been a big fan of Dominick Cruz, but I was watching. It was painful for me to watch. Okay, so 4th round, my middle daughter gets sick. Go up, she's throwing up, puking all over the place in the bathroom. That's how I felt watching the fight. Right, she's puking up. Right, so I'm missing the end of the 4th round. I'm kind of glad I didn't have to see it because I'm like, fuck, is Dominick going to get knocked out or is it going to be like, embarrassing? I'm cleaning up the vomit and the puke, and then I'm about to go downstairs. She throws up again. I'm cleaning it. And you know what? I feel the anger towards Cody Garbrandt with my daughter's vomit, just as she had things that left her body. My hatred of Cody left me. I saw the next day, I saw the end of the fight, which I can see where you're talking about, Eugene, because when I saw the 5th round, I was like, oh, fuck. It was like, Cruz was very competitive in that 5th round and made me reevaluate what I thought the night before. But so he made this, when he did the speech in the ring, it did bring tears to my eyes. I felt like a total punk. I was like, oh, my God, he gave it to that kid. And then I watched the press conference, totally won over by this guy. I was like, you know what? It's almost as if it's like fucking stealth PR, like ninja skills. Like all this shit. Everything he was doing before the fight was wrong. Everything from a PR perspective was fucking wrong. Everything. Everything was totally wrong. And then it was like, well, was he trolling us, or is he just some savant, or did some did an agent at WME like prepare him for I don't know, right? So I'm feeling all this kind of stuff, feeling good about this guy. I was like, you know what? I'm looking forward to this guy fighting. He has a good story. I admit I'm wrong in terms of how I viewed him. He had something in his wheelhouse I didn't think he did. And then I go to Bloody Elbow and I read an article about his ass talking about, since he's a top draw, he needs to fight Conor McGregor or Jose Aldo. And I'm saying, are you fucking? So he's loot. So I'm reading this like, oh Lord, right? And then I'm looking at the comments, and I'm like, okay, how is this going to, like, all this goodwill he's brought up, and it's just a lot of it's lost. You're like, oh fuck, here we go again. Because the thing is that I totally get. That's what I bring up to you guys, right? Since neither of you did he make a mistake? Did he make the T Wood error, right? Of assuming he's in a place where he's not, prematurely being a shot caller outside of his division with the big dogs when he just won something and hasn't even defended it yet. What's your take on that?
No, he did not overreach at all, because the irony is, because Conor McGregor is so far out of reach that it doesn't hurt him at all to talk shit about challenging Conor McGregor. Plus, Conor McGregor has talked so much shit and challenged so many people outside of his lane that it's okay to challenge Conor McGregor. Like, if I was in the UFC right now, first day on the job, I would be challenging Conor McGregor. Like, why not? You cannot lose.
Also, they have the footage. I mean, they do have that Ultimate Fight, great, which I think is great. They do have the footage. He was the only one when Conor McGregor was talking shit to Team Alpha Male. He was always like, I'll fight you, motherfucker. Like, they had to hold him back. He was the only one. So they have that footage, but still.
he would be way, way undersized for that fight. But why the hell not? I mean, who else other than he beat Cruz? Uriah Faber's retired and is his mentor, and he's about to fight T.J. Dillashaw.
He said he didn't want to. He said that he wants to go to.
Well, I know, but realistically, he's about to fight T.J. Dillashaw. He did challenge him in the ring. And then Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor, the only names that are up from him that he can move up. It's just like if I talk shit about somebody on Twitter, it's going to be somebody with a lot more followers than me. I mean, attack up. It's
So it's a good call for you. What do you think, Eugene?
You
didn't even think you won the fight, so.
No. I thought about it. I thought about this. I talked about how. Well, we talked about in a past show. Was it possible that an entire division could be a lost battalion? Right. And so but this fight was enough to breathe some life into it. And so, tell me where the road turns. Is a money fight? I mean, okay, he's not going to win over 100% of the newbies like he would if he was fighting Conor McGregor. But that aside, where's the money fight for him? A tough fight that he might lose again. I mean, if you're a sporter, if you live in the sporting life, you want to see the immediate rematch with him and Dominick Cruz. But this is a business. So is the business move? I like the story. The X team, the prodigal son, TJ goes off with the Dwayne Ben Ludwig. Right. There's a lot of the bad blood. There's could be some good shit talk in there, and stuff that just burnishes the story. But fundamentally, we're not talking about us. We're talking about people between us and the people who just tuned in to see McGregor. So the half newbies, is that enough to get them to plop down $65 and put their asses in a pay-per-view? I mean, I don't know. I know what WME what nut they have to come up with by June, and it's a big one. So they're looking at money fights. At a certain point, McGregor's going to have to say, you know what, I love you guys. But like he's already intimated, I need an ownership stake in this. I'll fight whoever you fucking want, but the $5-10 million you're paying me is really not enough, given that if I lose, I'm on the one with Chandler Palukaville. So it's a smart thing for Cody to do. He loses, who cares? It's a money fight. But fundamentally, since the biggest thing about a McGregor deal is the lead up, and he's betrayed himself as being completely overmatched in that regard.
But wouldn't that be hilarious to watch? Wouldn't that be entertaining to watch McGregor just humiliate Garbrandt time and time again, and Garbrandt just gets madder and madder? Well,
it's almost like Jose Aldo versus McGregor again. A guy who can barely speak English. Only problem he's an American. Yeah. Grew up speaking English.
He just can't speak. It doesn't matter what the language is.
They could work with him. I think they could work with him.
Yeah, but nobody's going to expect him to have a chance in the cage against McGregor. That's the problem.
I don't know. I think you can have. I think for the newbies, I think what Eugene said. I think that I can totally see a newbie watching that fight. You put a convincing enough package together, showing him clowning.
The newbies won't care who McGregor is fighting. They'll just watch McGregor and they'll want him to annihilate.
Yeah. I'm saying, but I think it would add the added sizzle because in their mind, it's like, yes, they want to see McGregor fight, but if you put it together a package, I mean, the fact of the matter is, in one fight, Cody Garbrandt did enough things that could be spliced together to make him seem like fucking Anderson Silva in his prime, right? Yeah, so I think that's enough to get people who are like noobs.
Between now and then, and wins, now we're talking. Steps, ladders.
Speaking about steps and ladders, instead of shoots and ladders, game I fucking hated.
I love that game. What's the matter with you?
Too many steps to get to the ladders.
No strategery.
This is the guy who lost a lot.
Go back to Candyland, Eugene.
I love that one too.
Candyland sucks.
But Eugene, do you love
Stratego?
What?
Stratego.
Oh, yeah, I love Stratego.
That one has some strategy.
Stratego and Othello. I love Othello too.
Othello's
like minute to learn.
Yeah.
Lifetime to master, baby. So Eugene, you're a Tony Ferguson. Dana White told you, don't you dare look at Mac. Just keep your eyes on Khabib. You said you're holding back. Khabib said, shut up and fight with me. The difference is 200 G's. Khabib said, I'll pay you, Tone. Shut up and fight with me, end quote. Are you bound to get together?
You know what? There's a lesson I've learned in life, and it's that I tell you, when I bought this house I'm sitting in right now, I came in, walked in the door, spent about 3 seconds here, and immediately walked out. You know why? Because it was such a desirable location and setting and house that I didn't want an ounce of my enthusiasm or excitement to leach into the environment around me. You know, Rene Girard, the great recently departed French philosopher, had this thing he called mimetic desire. He saw it as a wellspring for conflict. And he goes, we're like chimps. Kid Nate has a fancy baseball hat. I want a fancy baseball hat. I do things to try to get Kid Nate's fancy baseball hat, or at least get my own. Exactly. And now we're in conflict. So people who really want things like Khabib, he's starting to feel like that kind of girlfriend that it's kind of weird, man. It's like, why are you? I'm not standing in your way, dude. Whatever, man. Fight. Go fight. You're a fighter. You're always getting injured. When's the last time you fought? This is not my responsibility. You're putting a lot of shit on me. I need my space. This is Tony Ferguson. I mean, Khabib knows he's going to get the fight sooner or later. This is not actually ginning up the fight. It just feels like the kind of complaining that you want to turn off. Yep. So there's business at hand that doesn't involve him. Just let it play out. How old are you anyway? I mean, it's not like you're like a 37, 39-year-old fighter where maybe there's a little bit of time urgency. I mean, I'm going to preach a little for 200 G's. Oh man, everybody now has seen the McGregor writing on the wall. It's about picking your fights cleverly. I mean, I don't give a shit what the little numbers say next to people's names. It's about picking your fights cleverly.
And this,
what do you think, Nate?
Ferguson's money demand to me smells like a lack of confidence. It's like, if you think you're going to beat Khabib and move on to the big fight, the big life-changing fight with McGregor, fuck 200 grand, man. I mean, just get the fight, get that over with, beat this guy, move on. But when you're haggling about the 200 grand like your life depends on it, people start to wonder that you don't have the confidence that you can beat Khabib. And
maybe he can't, man. Maybe he can't. It's a 50-50.
Yeah,
it's a 50-50 fucking
these guys are both elite fighters, but Khabib, I think, has that stylistic edge on Ferguson where elite wrestler beats really good wrestle boxer, because he's not really an elite wrestler and he's not an elite boxer. And I think
Khabib's boxing made me very nervous.
Khabib's a shitty boxer, but I just think as a rule, the better wrestler beats the wrestle boxer. Because Ferguson has improved and added some new wrinkles with his grappling, but that shit ain't gonna work on
Lando
Khabib.
gave him fits.
Yeah, and it's not. I just don't see. I feel like Ferguson is blinking here and fucking up. I think he needs to just. You're not McGregor. You're not even Khabib.
You're not even Cody Garbrandt.
No, you're not. Garbrandt's a champ, man. I mean,
Garbrandt's all right. Okay, you're saying that. So he takes to Khabib and he loses, and then what? EK.
And then that's it. But I mean,
he asked for 200 grand from Khabib.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. At that point, I say, hey, bro.
Where's my money?
You get that money up front if that's your angle. I just think he's blinking here, and I think he's making a mistake. And as to whether he can beat, if you're advising a fighter, you always have to assume the fighter will handle the fighting part and win. Like you got to advise your fighter as if he's going to win. You cannot advise your fighter as if you think he's going to lose.
Man,
unless you're Taverdyan, and then black guy.
I was just gonna say.
Speaking of losing, Nate, your sports agent extraordinaire, Jeff Boris.
Who? What? Huh? Yeah.
Arliss. UFC fighter Leslie Smith and labor lawyer Lucas Middlebrook resigned from your Professional Fighters Association, a.k.a. the PFA, in wake of a document entitled, quote, Top 10 PFA Goals, end quote, ending up on MMAJunkie.com. Weeks later, a rival organization called the Mixed Martial Arts Athletes Association, affectionately known as surfaced featuring blue chip UFC fighters and a dick rider who challenged your spot before ending 2016 on a low note. So explain the PR behind your press release last Friday defending the PFA and issuing an ultimatum, quote, shortly after the holidays, I'll be mailing solicitation cards of the PFA to all the fighters. If I don't have the required number of solicitation cards in my mailbox by the time I return from spring training on April 2nd, 2017, which is 2 days before my birthday, by the way, I will hang up my collective bargaining gloves and stop all organizing efforts. End quote.
This is like, I mean, this is just. There was a cartoon when the Beatles broke up, and it shows 4 guys in the spotlight, right? And then it's the next panel is 3 guys in the spotlight because John Lennon wandered away. Then in the next panel, George has wandered away, and it's just Paul and Ringo. And then it's just Paul standing in the spotlight by himself, and he goes, "I'm leaving the band." That's what this is. Like, dude, you know, you're the asshole that nobody likes. Go away. Like once everybody's left your party, you don't pull the "it's my party and I'll cry if I want to" thing. Like, everybody done left, fool. Just, you know, it's like, yeah, it's not one of these deals where if you kill yourself, everybody's going to be sorry either. And I'm not telling the guy, I'm not saying that in real life. Like, you're a wonderful person, take care of yourself. I'm just saying it's like that. Like, this fantasy people have, if I were to be tragically killed with leukemia, everybody would be so sorry. No, they wouldn't. You know.
What's your take, Eugene?
No, I think I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to have to agree 100%. You know, it never works out. You know, when I was a kid, one of the least effective ways to try to discipline me was by giving me what I used to jokingly call an old tomato, also known as as an ultimatum. If you don't do this,
Smith when I was a youth.
Yeah, if you don't do this, I'm gonna, and that's always a way to get me. Because my attitude is, you gonna do what? Well, like, you know, the Mike Tyson thing. What are you gonna do? You know, you can't curse, Mike. This is live TV. Fuck you. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, you know. I mean, if I don't have these things in my box by April 2nd, and I'm gonna close. You know what? You know what? Look, don't hold your breath for April 2nd, please. You know, we want you around, maybe, but this is. I mean, you know. He should call Cal Scalak, man. These things are doomed. The individual contributor sports are doomed to fucking fail. Doomed to fail because it's too easy to pick off the individual players. That's why, you know, herd animals, the weak and the old ones get picked off, and then everybody else lives another day.
But why are tennis and golf run by the fighters and by the players and so successfully for their own benefit?
Tennis and golf, because those are games. Those are games that
civilized
have
sports.
No, that have where there's they have few enough. They have few enough actual stars, so that the 5 top tennis players are way different than the next 15. You know, so that so by the time that you achieve notice, by the time people finally pay attention to, fuck, there's this guy Pete Sampras, there's nobody even close. So in other words, it's the McGregorization of the athlete. Same thing with golf. By the time there's a Tiger Woods, there's nobody even fucking close to a Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods could go, you know what? I'll run out there, I'll jerk off on the 17th green, and then you'll pay me more money than God, and then I'll go fuck some hookers. Whatever. I'm Tiger Woods. But there's no like second.
Your fantasy of being Tiger Woods is a beautiful thing.
Your secondary, tertiary Tiger Woods. That's just my guess on the fly. I don't know, but. You know, it's not going to happen.
Organized by rich white.
It hasn't happened with boxing. It's not going to happen with mixed martial arts.
Yeah, that's because tennis and golf were played by upper middle class to wealthy people, and they
not necessarily
shit and being organized. Yeah, as back in the day when the players' associations were formed.
Back when it was a real game.
Right. They were overwhelmingly rich white guys who knew how to play the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And had daddy to call on if they didn't.
Well, one guy. One guy who is rich, seems to know how the game is played, or maybe not. Eugene, you're Don Lemon. On New Year's Eve, live and in public, if you will. You drank so much tequila One, Anderson Cooper had to talk you out of getting your nipple pierced on air. Instead, you got your ear pierced and begged for the blood to not drip on my length coat. Two, you lamented your work-life balance and relationship status. And three, CNN allegedly cut your mic after you declared, quote, 2016 was awful, end quote, but restored it in time for your on-air proposal to co-host Brooke Baldwin. You replied to your sloppy state, yeah, I'm lit. Okay. Now that you're the rage of the internet, should you embrace your steez as a wild and crazy guy?
Yeah, I go first because
Yes.
that you most certainly fucking should, man. Don Lemon was a fucking laughing stock before, and what he did was to embrace his full laughing stock. Fucking, what was the cat's name on a network? The Peter.
From Network. It's a 40-year-old movie, Eugene. No,
Whatever. He's the mad as hell guy. I mean,
Yeah.
but with a bottle.
Anymore, yeah.
With a bottle of tequila. I mean, before, you know, his well publicized gaffes about race, his stumbling, mumbling. I mean, he had woven for himself a cloth that made him, the black community didn't give a fuck whether he lived or died. The gay community was fucking embarrassed. I mean, he was a man without a home, and in one fell swoop, he made a nation of fans. People who like drunken, out of control dudes. That suddenly there's a
made a fan of me. Cody Garbrandt and Don Lemon.
It was a Trumpization of news where suddenly, I mean, what we're paying for, we've been spoon fed all this fucking smooth pablum, and what we got was a real bona fide fucking moment, like a very
moments,
a moment, and moments, and like what somebody said was, he said, give that guy a fucking bottle of tequila every show.
Yep.
Give him a special where he's a bottle of tequila at the beginning and at the end of the hour.
Yes.
Exactly right.
Lemon fizz.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that was the best of all possible things he ever could have done with his life and his career. One, he'll come out of it getting all the penis he can handle. Because now people know that, well, he's gay, right? So people know that he's looking. You know, all of a sudden he's revived. People in their 20s love this guy.
Yep.
You know, he's got the millennials. He's got all the penis he can handle, and he's a
Who
breath
could
of,
ask for anything more?
Now, is it wrong
Exactly.
for him to be going after millennial penis? Is he too old for young guys
How
in their
old is
20s?
he?
50.
I don't know.
I mean,
He's
like-
got to be 40 something.
So he's 50. He's 50.
He's 50.
He looks good. He looks
Christ.
really good for 50. He looks
Well, he's
good.
a TV guy, but I mean,
man.
I'd be shocked.
Jesus Christ, 50. I had no idea.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Hey, show for you guys. You and Eugene. Hey, Eugene.
Hey, he's got many years. He's got many years ahead of him that are keeping me away from good work. You know, so
just imagine if a network put Eugene on the air and allowed him to drink.
I wouldn't even need the tequila. I tell you that. So.
Anderson Cooper trying to talk Don from doing the nipple. You're like, shut the fuck up, Anderson. I
The
will
only-
come to New York right now. You let this man pierce his
Eugene would
nipple.
be getting a Prince Albert on the air.
And the only reason that he didn't want him to pierce his nipple was because he knew that nobody in America wants to see Don Lemon shirtless.
No, it's true because he was going for it. He's like, don't do that. Don't. No one's.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
the
man,
blood and the needle and
No,
the
get some
nipple.
push-ups under, sit-ups, push-ups under your belt. Don't be fucking running out here with the doughy 50-year-old dude body. Forget that, you know. Anderson's Cooper, he keeps in shape. You can tell that guy keeps in shape.
I see.
Vanderbilt money. What do you think, Nate?
I think he peaked. I think this was a wonderful moment for him. And like Eugene said, dude had nothing to lose. He had no credibility. I saw this dude on the streets of Ferguson, and it was just shameful. I mean, not that he's any worse.
You can
than
smell
any of the
there. Of course, there's a smell of marijuana.
I mean, anybody who doesn't know that the talking heads on TV of this generation are completely empty-headed idiots, ciphers, nothings, is a fool. And so Lemon is a fool. He's just a nothing. He's a good-looking guy who can talk well, and that's it. But he has nothing to say. So there were zero expectations. But where does he go from here? What's the next special? Don Lemon chops lines and hits on teenage boys. I mean, there's
Why not? I'd pay to see that.
I had to watch that show.
I mean, I would watch it, but like, it doesn't end well for the protagonist.
That'd be a kerfuffle every week. Oh, once again, we have to have like the lemon kerfuffle of the week.
Yeah, when you survived falling into a shark tank and came out, you know, and you ended up like walking on the sharks' backs, and the whole crowd applauded you. Go home, Homer Simpson. Like, don't try for the sequel. Like, you know, like I just don't do it. You're gonna end up like Geraldo. So just stop. Like, go back to whatever it was you do, hosting stuff, and settle down. Don't try to follow it up. That's my advice for Don Lemon.
Hey, do you remember when Cuba Gooding Jr. was on that New Year's Eve show, coked out of his fucking mind? And I think
but he wasn't admitting it.
No, he didn't admit it. And then then at one point, I think it was James Brown was the co-host, not the singer, but the sports commentator. And the sports commentator kind of looks at him and goes, "I think I'll have what he's having." And it was like a great that. But you haven't heard from Cuba since then, have you? The mistake
he was
that
on
Cuba
American
made.
Horror Story this last season.
I don't watch TV. It's not.
Yeah, you see, you just shot yourself.
What happened to
cultural awareness?
I don't watch that.
I'm going to send you this essay by Joan Rivers about how she stayed a top comedian into her million years. Stay current, Eugene. How? Keep your references up to date. That was her advice. Update your jokes.
So Cuba, he should have embraced that. He should have been like Old Dirty Bastard was the paranoid Negro at your party. He should have been the coked up guy at your party. He could have just been. They would have loved him. He could have ridden that. You know what? John Belushi? What he did? There's great movies. Animal House, fucking Blues Brothers. And then he died. But whatever. Before then, he was great.
Well, when you talk about ODB, you know, there's somebody who, you know, is affiliated with that. You, Nate, are the producers of ABC's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. After a disastrous performance of Auld Lang Syne by Mariah Carey, she tweeted, "Shit happens. Have a happy and healthy New Year, everybody. Here's to making more headlines in 2017, end quote. Her team wasn't as forgiving, telling Entertainment Weekly that you sabotaged her performance by intentionally giving her broken equipment she told you wasn't working. Yet you assured her it would be fixed moments before the broadcast. Quote, they wanted a viral moment at any expense, and that's not a company with integrity for 50-something years. That's not who Dick Clark was. He loved artists," end quote. If you run your mouth and brag, she will hunt you down. So do you brings that levity?
Man, you just brush this fool off your shoulders. Like, Dick Clark Productions is going to be back next year, owning New Year's Eve. Come rain, come shine, come Mariah Carey, come whatever. Beyonce, Rihanna, anybody. Like, this, it's like me as an MMA journalist. I don't get upset at fighters because I know my old ass is still going to be sitting in this chair talking shit on my keyboard after their career has sadly passed. So I just watch the mayflies fly by and let them do whatever. Mariah Carey, like, made an ass of herself. I don't doubt that the equipment was fucked up, and I'm sure it was somebody's fault, and some of those people were on the Dick Clark side. But Mariah Carey's career has been a disastrous series of embarrassing clusterfucks for a long fucking time. I mean, is this the same woman who was doing the Kurt Cobain thing and having herself wheeled around in a chair for a while? Like, except seriously, like, just let her make a fool of herself and just, you know, you responded and denied the allegations, and I think that's where you go. There's a time to be classy and be the bigger person, and this is that time, because Mariah Carey and her team, just let him go. Just let him.
Time to be classy and time to be ashy.
Exactly. And there's a time. Just milk the viral video because it's gold, man. Just get that shit out there.
I love that. Between her and Don Lemon, that was like the funniest New Year's Eve performances on two separate networks ever.
Wheels coming off of our infotainment complex is what it was. I mean, the curtain has been pulled back, and there's nobody back there. The little man behind the curtain is shit-faced and not pulling the levers anymore. Like, these people are barely even trying. They can't even put on the bread and circuses part of it anymore. I mean, at least they're getting the bread to the stores still, but the circuses part are all fucked up.
What do you think,
And you know this,
Eugene?
you know this band Weed Eater. And you know this band, they're from the South. Weed Eater. Well, they're a great band. And
Are they
at one
contemporary?
point,
What era are we talking about?
oh no, they're still current. They're still playing. It's like the guy Dixie, the guy who plays bass for them, his sister just ran for like South Carolina, North Carolina government office. She's like the mayor of a town or the district attorney or some shit like this. So these guys, we did a bunch of shows with them, and at one point they were saying that they, Keiko, the guy who used to be their drummer, this big 300-pound drummer guy, had pulled a knife on the club owner because the guy hadn't paid. He goes, but we're always fighting with club owners. And at one point he's having this Dixie's having this pitched argument with the club owner over their money for that night. He goes, look, I don't want to have to get Keiko here. He's going to pull a knife on you. I'm going to talk to you myself. And during the argument, there's just this ungodly this noise. He's just arguing over it. He goes, look, I had to pay for promotions. I had to pay for this. I had to pay for the sound guy. And finally, Dixie realizes that the high-pitched noise is feedback, and he turns at the soundboard, and the sound guy has passed out over the board. Fucking all the levels are 10'd out, and he just looks at the sound guy and he goes, "You mean that sound guy? You had to pay that guy?" And the club owner kind of looks and he goes, "Okay, I won't be paying that guy." But so I think Mariah Carey has been a wonderful chaos rider. Like he said, she's been doing nutty shit forever, and comes out smelling like a rose. Who was that chick the Jessica Simpson's sister?
Ashley Simpson, that's right. Yep.
Ashley Simpson, and you haven't heard from her since that Saturday Night Live kerfuffle, right?
Yeah.
You will hear from Mariah Carey because one, she can really actually sing. Nobody doubts that.
Could. I think her voice might be shot, but at one point she was a really good singer.
The way she sings, it happens. Your voice changes as you get older. But she's, as in my mind, she's fucking gold. This is nothing but good for her. Will it be good for you?
You're supposed to be Dick Clark again. The show has rules, Eugene.
So if I'm Dick Clark, I whatever.
Productions, because Dick Clark's dead. But
yeah, Dick Clark is dead, man. Wow.
I'd be rolling my grave.
Man,
Next question.
Made me sad now.
He's got to answer the question. He hasn't even attempted to answer the question. He talked for 5 minutes.
No. If you're Dick Clark, let her run. This is good for everybody as far as I'm concerned, because nobody, as far as I know, under the age of 50 gave a shit. So so now suddenly people pay attention.
CNN next year.
You got it. So
have Don Lemon on there. Oh,
actually,
forget Megyn Kelly.
This is good for. Ooh, Megyn Kelly just scored, didn't she? Right? She got off of Fox onto a real fucking network, man. And everybody loves her.
And in the process, all made both Fox and MSNBC worse. But
she have her own TV daytime show too. It's crazy. She got a nice deal.
Yep. Nice,
we'll see though if we'll see if it resonates though. I don't think it will.
Ask Katie Couric how these moves work out.
Katie's richer than God. She's gonna be doing some work for Ozzy coming up too. So
get a plug in. Very professional.
Here's one that you could focus on, Eugene. You're Josh Marshall, editor and publisher of Talking Points Memo. Last Friday, you posted a cryptic tweet, quote, "They did say targeting close associates," end quote, along with a Pornhub clip featuring two women named Angela and Strawberry. Instead of blaming Twitter hacks or Russians, you manned up and claimed it was intentional. Surprisingly, the media moved on. Have you?
The last part of what you said dropped out. I'm sorry, man.
Surprisingly, the media moved on. Have you?
Oh, have you? I think this was a guy who's actually been listening to us. I think this was a guy in my mind who it seems like he kind of Back to the Future, used a time machine and listened to what we would have said and did it. Yep. No, whatever, man. That's all people. Yeah, that's all people want to see. They want to see you fucking. Oh, it's like you catch the kid and the kid's got the paintbrush and there's paint on the wall and you don't want to. Okay, what happened, Dad? What happened is okay, Dad. All right, okay, first, Dad. Okay, and then the paint just jumped on the wall. You don't want to hear that. Oh, I didn't inhale. You don't want to hear that. You laugh for a bit at the don't inhale, the paint jumping on the wall. But what you really want is the guy says, yeah, you know what, Dad, shit. God damn it, I fucked up. There you go. Good luck to you.
Except he didn't say that. He said, I meant to do that. He did the Pee Wee Herman.
He channeled Pee Wee Herman, PW.
Whatever. He goes, who among us Who among us has not sent porn and appreciate good girl on girl porn? Who among us? I mean, at that point, he's come perilously
I give you porn, and this is how you repay me?
He's come perilously close to that guy, the unrepentant guy who I'm hoping I'm not the first guy who's that guy.
He even lectured people. He even lectured people who's like, I'm so shocked that so many people don't enjoy porn. You're losing out. You're missing out. I'm sad for you.
He doubled down in photo fucking balls out genius.
Yeah. That's like owning it straight up. Wow.
Yeah, this is
Seriously.
much cooler than I expected from a fucking centrist liberal pundit shithead who backed the Iraq war and is all in on the Putin hacking thing. Like, this is the fucking proverbial blind pig finding the truffle or whatever it is. Like,
So what's your take, Nate?
I like what I just said. Like, I'm so much more impressed with Josh Marshall. Like, this is a guy that I thought I would just be dying to beat up on sight and I've met him a couple times and that was pretty much my vibe. But now he seems less lame. I mean, it's not that watching porn and jerking off at home by yourself is cool, but that's him. He owned it. I mean, I'm not saying it's not cool. Some of us call it a lifestyle, but it's like, dude, just owning who he is, and it's like people just accept that, and that's how to go. He played it right.
Go ahead. I will say, before we go to Teachable Moment, I think it's really fascinating that as strange as 2016 was, and this was not meant to be a year-end show, but the number of people on the list who you went into 2016 not liking, feeling mildly annoyed by, that ended up like being fans of Cody Garbrandt, Don Lemon, Mariah Carey. I'm serious. For me, it's like this
I'm
is just...
still annoyed by Cody. Sorry.
Here's my thing with Cody. I've hated Dominick Cruz for years, his fighting style. Just hated it. And here's how I finally got rid of Dominick Cruz. I rooted for him. And the time that I did that, he gets annihilated. It's like a perfect ending. It's a perfect ending.
Well, that brings us to the Teachable Moment. Nate, you're an academic institution. The Washington Post reported that an unauthorized classroom recording of an Orange Coast College professor criticizing the 2016 election results set forth a, quote, wave of violent threats that forced her to end her semester early and flee her home in suburban Orange County, end quote. Walk us through your PR prep plan for preventing politicized terror from infecting your campus.
The number one step to not being affected by politicized terror or tweets is by making people actually feel secure in their person and in their home. And like, for people who have limited capacity to defend themselves through violence, it's real scary to start getting tweets from scary creeps. But if you train these people in some self-defense, some basic, armor them up, man. I mean, fucking get them bodyguards. Like, invest some money in demystifying this, because these are just chuckleheads on fucking Twitter. And the thing is, anybody can get the drop on anybody else. You know who I'm scared of? I'm scared of some fucker who can sneak up on me. I'm not scared of some big fucker who's all scary and waving shit around, because I can fucking see him coming and deal with him.
She's like, no, you can't.
Yeah, well, maybe not. Whatever.
I'm that big fucker.
It's the guy working behind the garbage cans at 7 o'clock in the morning that I'm worried about. And if you just prepare people so that they're more, get them security cameras, some jiu-jitsu classes, like, just demystify this shit. People are not that scary. I mean, you can be hit by a meteor at any time. So what are you fucking afraid of? You can keel over at any time. Don't live in fear, because your life is precarious no matter what. And just get people comfortable with the reality of their situation. But we've had people so cosseted and so insulated and so in such a illusion security blanket that they're afraid of their own fucking shadow, and they're afraid of fucking shitheads on Twitter. It's like, if you're afraid of people on Twitter, block them on Twitter.
You ever see Eric Bogosian in talk radio?
Of course.
I didn't.
Okay, Eric Bogosian in talk radio played that Denver
Shock. The guy that got kidnapped.
No, he got shot.
Yeah. Killed by Nazis.
And then shot.
But he got killed by neo-Nazis, and we get the Nazis in. His name, Alan something or other. I can't remember.
Bird, wasn't it?
Yes, thank you, Berg. And you know, I mean, you know, it only took one. It only took one guy. You know, but the thing is,
But that could happen with a fucking bus you walk out in front of at random.
right. And it's like somebody once asked Obama, "Aren't you afraid you're going to get shot?" And he goes, "Look, and I couldn't even get out of bed if I thought that way. Yeah, no, I got to trust that good things are going to happen, and that's the reality. Of course, as a end times fanatic myself, eschatologist, I feel very comfortable in saying yes, you should do what Kid Nate said and fucking prepare, like the Boy Scouts. Be prepared, you know."
So I thought you were going to say that you felt offended because you said everyone should fear these meteors, baby.
Or like, did you ever see that great MTV Cribs with Big Boy from Outkast? And he would walk around. He'd walk around the house, and every time he'd show something nice, he'd look at the camera and go, "Don't try it." Yeah, and you didn't doubt for a second that dude's got some Scarface level fucking security, as well as a panic room, as well as a little friend.
A lot of little friends.
She'd like you to say hello to.
Yeah.
Brings us to Kid Nate's heel turn.
Man, there has been so much shit. So many heel turns. I can't even keep up with this. Like, there was this incredible, I don't know if y'all know what hoteps are. I didn't know until I read this article, but like, there's apparently like a whole internet school of middle-aged black guys who are like racist and sexist and homophobic and justify it all with some sort of pseudo Pan-Africanism philosophy, right? So it's sort of like a black version of Trumpers, and they're having some civil war. I'm not even gonna get into that because this fucking move Donald Trump pulled on Congress today was just so just magical heel turn. The GOP Congress and their stupidity and arrogance thinks they can just eliminate the Office of Ethics and not get any blowback. Yeah, 'cause we're the boss now. We're just going to... And it's like, this is politics, dumbasses. People care and are observing and watching, and there's already just tons of new... This is like an instant news story, because any idiot can understand Congressman shuts down ethics office. That's bad. Like, nobody's going, oh, finally they're getting rid of that ethics office. And like, the thing is, ironically, there are some problems with that. Like, they've had congressmen like lose hundreds of thousands of dollars defending themselves from investigations that turned out to be nothing. But yeah, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. And Trump just comes in with the kill shot, and it's a pretty mildly voiced tweet. It's like, he's not even attacking them for attacking the ethics office. He's just questioning the timing. And that was all it took. Game over. Boom. They're done. They rolled. And the thing is, prepare to watch this dynamic play out again and again and again. GOP congressman sets up a straw man of just such egregious bullshit that Trump has to come out and say, guys, maybe let's do that later. Plan is dropped. Everybody in the country goes, well, at least Donald Trump isn't those assholes. It's the same dynamic he had with Jeb and Cruz and all the rest of them. Nobody would have picked Trump to be president, except he was the guy on stage calling Jeb an asshole and pointing out that Cruz is an idiot. Like, that's why people like him. As long as Trump is going up against the GOP Congress, he cannot lose. Like David Axelrod says, this ethics vote was a big fat Zeppelin floating slowly through the air, just waiting for the Red Bear and Donald Trump to shoot it down. And like, they've got a formula here that they can just milk. And meanwhile, they can pass 99 other shitty bills that everybody would be horrified for if they knew they were happening. But they just float up the straw man, let Donald knock it down. Donald looks like the good guy. They still get to pass a whole bunch of other horrible shit in the slipstream and go on. That's my other heel turn is Hillary Clinton going to the fucking Trump inauguration. Like, this is a woman who said that Trump was literally the most dangerous person to ever be nominated by a major political party. And now she's going to go to the inauguration and pretend it doesn't happen. It's like, Hillary, go away. That's all I want from the Clintons.
She's going with her husband.
Fuck away.
I don't get her husband.
Yeah, and they should both go away. Like, if either that or she should just come out and say, yeah, I was just kidding. This whole political campaign was just kayfabe. I didn't think the guy was that unqualified. I think he's wonderful. He's the president. Here, I'm going to have another expensive hors d'oeuvre. Like, just go away, Hillary.
But would be crazy, though. It wouldn't happen. But if she's there and he acknowledges her, it's like, great to see Hillary's here. What did I say I was going to do, Hillary, once I became president? That's right. Lock her up! They're like, what the fuck?
But see, he's already admitted it was kayfabe
crazy.
too. He's already admitted that was all bullshit.
I know, but still, that's why it'd be funny. It'd be
Yeah,
a hilarious little, you know.
I thought you were gonna go with some kind of grab her by the pussy joke, but I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't. That would have been terrible.
Oh, come on! I already told you about my kid throwing up.
You guys are so ageist.
Hey, I got nothing to do with that. It's just it puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's my heel turn.
Yeah. Jeez. Eugene.
Got a novel concept, man. I got a novel concept. Usually the expectation, and you guys are there thinking, oh, of course, Eugene's gonna put Ronda in the Lost Battalion. That she's the, she's now she's like Private Benjamin, and you gotta, but the thing is, you remember that the kind of artful device that Popeye came alive here and decided to attack some stuffed animals. The thing here is that, remember, the number one qualification for getting in the Lost Battalion is lack of an awareness of you being in the Lost Battalion. I think that Ronda, more than anybody, knows exactly where she is. In a jiu-jitsu act of wonderfulness, everybody, all of the apologists in I can't call them nut jumpers, the ovary jumpers in this instance, those people are Lost Battalion. Anybody, and I'm reading the comments, anybody in the comments who's going, her next fight, well, when she hurt the rematch, or when all you guys, it's like Spirited Away, or what is that, the Rapture. you guys are suddenly,
I thought you meant the anime.
Either one. You're whisked from in front of your computers, and now you're hearing the incessant chop of wood coming over from the Chris Weidman kind of quadrant.
If you had a Venn diagram of Ronda Rousey dead enders and Hillary Clinton dead enders, the people that are saying Clinton ran a great campaign. In fact, she actually won. What's the overlap there?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what body part you used to watch that fight, but
their heart. They watch with their hearts.
Yeah, they watch with their heart. It's she doesn't want to fight, man. It's not enjoyable to watch. People are on the commenters like, oh man, she's a competitor. She doesn't want to fight. It's horrible to watch. It's horrible. This is not a person who wants to fight. This is not a person who wants to be there. She doesn't want to do it. She's meeting obligations. I don't want to see a tailor work who hates tailoring. I don't want to see anybody do shit they hate. It's miserable, and it makes me feel bad. Yeah. Somebody just tweet. He thought he was cynical. I'm not cynical. Well, maybe a little. Yeah.
I wish someone could cue in "She's Gone" by Hall & Oates. I'm just hearing that song.
I don't know how I'm gonna take it. She's gone. I mean, you know how much you got paid for the Pantene commercial and the Metro PCS commercial and the movies. This $3 million. People go, oh, she got $3 million. Not enough, man. Well, she got sponsorship money. Still up against what you get for royalties. Really not enough. I mean, Henry Rollins lives in a freaking mansion down in LA, Silver Lake or somewhere. Drives a Mercedes Benz, and it's not like you feel like he's had a fantastic film career. He's not been in Entourage.
That's all from those shitty cop roles and movie cameos he's done.
Exactly.
It wasn't black royalties.
Exactly. So it doesn't take much to put people in fine federal. This is not. I can't think of anybody. If she's holding on to the bald one for 45 minutes, covering his suit with snot, sweat, and tears, which is creepy enough to have it mentioned, I don't think this is not some. This has got to stop. It is madness. Those of you who wish this on us for the future are whisked away to the cornfield. That's it. In the misty cornfield. That's it. No more. So that entire classification of people, you're gonna hate on me in the comments. I don't give a fuck. Don't aid and abet unless you're a sadist. Do not aid and abet this. It's not good. It's not good.
This is like once upon a time the Romans in their gladiatorial circuses brought in they were bringing in different animals to fight different animals. And at one point they brought in a pride of lions to fight a pack of elephants. And lions savaged the elephants so horribly, and the elephants were so human in their response of terror and almost seemed to be begging the crowd for mercy, that the bloodthirsty crowd at the Roman circus just said no and walked out. That's anybody who wants to see Rousey fight wants to watch elephants killed by lions. It's just pure sick sadism.
And it has nothing to do with your analogy with our metaphor with the lioness. You're not calling Ronda an elephant, are you, man?
I mean, whatever. I'm calling her a hapless victim. It's like if you want to see women being abused, Max Hardcore still has a website. Like, just
jeez,
man,
yeah,
stop it! Why'd you? Damn it, man!
It's like talking about Trump. I mean, just
a friend of mine had the misfortune of having to make a movie with him, and then she had to sue him and take him to court because he drugged her, and then
the guy went to prison, and I'm fine with that. The guy deserved.
Well, he went to prison over tax issues.
No, it was obscenity charges, which were bullshit. But
that's right.
Making those obscene videos deserved prison time.
Is it supposed to
They didn't send him to prison in her case because then she went back and filmed with him a second time.
Yeah, there's always
it's just like the worst ending ever.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
After, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
That's a fucking downer. Kid Nate started it with that Max Hardcore stuff.
He started. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson and Kid Nate Alexei Auld. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Make a noise, Eugene.
I got it. I'm sorry. I got the gas face now. You know, I tell you about the fist fight in the men's room with Max Hardcore. Did I tell you that?
Many times, yes. It's a great story.
Good. I don't have to repeat it then.
Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another installment, If I Did It, and we don't know what we're going to be discussing yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.